Great, well welcome everybody. Do take a seat if you're planning to stay, and we will get going. You're all looking remarkably perky for this time in the conference, so that's great. Hopefully you met me earlier. I'm Bruce Howard, coordinates the UK-wide Ecosystems Knowledge Network, which exists to share learning about how we manage the environment as an asset locally. We operate across the UK, and we're free to join. So if you, as you leave this seminar, grab one of these flyers. There's a web link on the back. You'll find a button to join. Welcome, come on in. So the description for this seminar didn't quite match what I'd provided to the organisers. So there was a bit of a mix-up with a workshop for World Environment Day on the arguments that we are circulating why the environment matters in general, and a specific session on the economic case, formulating the economic case for enhancing green space to deliver health outcomes. Can I just have a show of hands? Who was expecting a sort of general seminar on the rationale for why the environment matters? Nobody? Okay, great. Okay, right. In that, because in the last group there seemed to be different messages got through. So, are you all happy that we run with what I was expecting at least, which is a session on the economic case and the different aspects of forming that economic case for green space enhancement? It's great to nodding heads. It makes it a lot simpler. We're not trying to squeeze two workshops into one. So, in this session, I don't know where you've come from. Maybe there was a lot of presentations up front, but you're going to need to do the work, and I'll circulate it between two tables that will form in a minute, and help you along. So let me just introduce the exercise and get the right workshop session up. So here we go. So what I'd like you to do, and I'll divide you into an even number of tables in just a minute, is think around the tables where you'll be sitting of a green space, a project that will deliver some health outcomes. The health may not be the primary purpose for the project or the program, but I hope it will be in there somewhere. And around your tables, hopefully, you already have ideas, or you'll already be involved in a project that can be the subject of your discussion. So if somebody's got a fantastic project they want to get going, here's your chance to try and persuade the rest of the group around your table that that should be the focus for the discussion that you're going to have over the next hour, half an hour or so. If you're really stuck for an idea for a green space project that delivers on some health outcomes, I have got 4 fictitious example projects, and you're welcome to focus your discussions on one of those. What I'm really hoping is that you can, you've got ideas within your table, around your table. So just 5 minutes discussion, but first, to identify the project, let me just see if we need an even number of tables. I'm just debating whether we go for 2 tables or 4. Let's go for 4. So yeah, we'll go for 4 groups of 4. So you're at 5 on this table. Would one of you mind moving across there, and one that table will stay as is with 5. So around your tables, please now decide on the project or the program that involves green space and health outcomes that you want to be the focus for small group discussion in the rest of the session. As a group, just put your hand up, come to me if you want me to give you a project that you could focus on. But I'll leave you for 5 minutes to decide on the project. Yeah. There you go. Sorry, I'm wrong.
I'm Gemma.
You need Are you just focusing on I'm just wandering around so you okay, if you could get a few more chunky pens. Hi, welcome. So we should just fill you in just from another side. One of them represents so why don't you join us? Trying to find the something we do.
That's the way it's provided.
So who's decided that, right, we need to get more people to do it today? Like, who said it?
Okay, folks, time to do your final negotiation. Project. You guys decide on a particular project.
Yeah, so that was a suggestion. First.
As you guys are moving table. Yeah. So I think something. So I'm doing a PhD, quite early in my first year. Variations and inequalities and how it's quite broad.
Folks, are you settled on a particular project?
If you don't remember, it doesn't matter, but if you go out the key at the front doors to go across, oh yeah, there's a reception right on the
Okay, folks, well done. I think each of you got a particular project in mind that you're then going to talk about in your groups. For the next, it says 25 there, but really we just have 15 minutes. What I'd like you to do is work in your small groups, think about the project that you've identified and how you're going to make an economic case for funds going into that green space to deliver health outcomes. So imagine, well, an easy way of thinking about it might be that in a few years' time there's going to be a conference on the economics of environment and health, and your project is going to be one of the case studies that you're going to be showing off what you've done and the economic analysis that you've woven into the work. So think about what you need to do now in order to prepare for your project to be a stunning example of the economic case for investing in the environment to deliver a health outcome. To help you along, you'll see these sheets with purpley boxes on your table. Now, these are 4 aspects of making an economic case for investing in green space to deliver a health outcome that PwC have come up with. And there are some prompt questions there that help you think about all the things you need to do so you can actually make that robust economic case. Includes who's involved in the project, the types of evaluation that need to be done, the data, the scope, lots of questions that hopefully help you make a strong economic case. Seeing as time is short, you might want to just pick at a couple of these 2, say, of the 4 aspects of making an economic case that are listed on the sheet. Elect one of your group as a scribe, and then just to tell you, after your 15 minutes, what we'll be doing is I'll be pairing your tables up. One of the groups will need to pretend to be the funder or the group consortium of funders. The other group will be quizzed by that consortium of funders as to how strong their economic case is, and then we'll swap over. So be prepared to grill each other after you've done your little planning session now. Is that clear? So picking up the questions, the prompt questions on this sheet, over to you, and quizzing will start at just after 3 o'clock.
Do you have any ideas? Do you there isn't like a no ideas how. The idea is to so maybe What about like house inequalities? Ethnic groups.
So in terms of under 14, can we see the United
I think things like this, you may have the data, but it's worth asking kind of families or other people themselves what they think the issues that affect them. So whether they think, if they think they're active, they are active, but don't know about it, it's worth asking them. And you might, like the people that have been measured aren't necessarily the people that need to help them.
But that's yourself, I'm one of the looking at what is fair, what's
and it's like the touch, managing the debt.
so the challenge
Is there a reason why for that? So we have this like subjective claim, but are there ideas for how?
Identify something like measuring physical activity, you can just drill down a little bit of detail. You might find the other two kind of quiz you have to describe.
what's the quality and satisfaction?
I'm thinking of it more in terms of our possibilities. We as an organisation can say that if we provide good it's rather than the objective that we on the local 10,000 players. If we do it, where else?
I feel like things like that say your idea is to build play areas, go and ask them, will you use play area? But I don't think now children that I know are using play areas. Parents take them under 5, okay, and then after that 5 to 15 and then so it's like if you have a play area, it's there, or you use them. So it's worth like I said, it's like asking them, is that what they want? Do they want a indoor skate park? Is that better? Is that what they're looking for? Or like what is it? Do they want to grow vegetables? Some children might.
Well, we've got the industry
Yeah, no, I understand that.
and you're right.
So let's not have
So how one aspect of well-being would be safe quality of fish.
Well, we're not even
I mean, it makes it worse. Like, it makes it worse going to You could go outside and you could do it. What do you want to do?
Yeah, we do that. We just say that we have a vending machine and an igloo and you come round and come
Yeah, well it may be that they want to build dens in the park, and like if they want to build dens, then let them build dens. Like, yeah.
Here we're trying to kind of find a project.
There isn't one at the moment.
Do you have any cash to put towards this redesign of
Basically, the thing that I'm not is we've got to
It's more about rationality.
You know, the way that we historically produce things, that right through the development, but that's what play is. We see play.
Was there a chance of the expansion of European subjects? Because this was already doing in our sounds like you would use
If we could prove them as we learn, lots of things that we're getting asked for.
What's the current, like, what's the current contribution?
Let's go set off in business. You don't even know how to build an app. Sometimes it's used properly and well used. And then others are helpful to help.
Yeah, that's when the high difficulty comes in. I mean, the costs would be too late to
Going on with the humor, let's talk about themselves for
So if you have the health outcomes, how, like, what could you do to assess the economic benefits? That would help get it on the first place.
yeah.
Because I'm all about retry this.
Yeah, I mean,
trying to get it justification.
Okay, just a few minutes, and then I'll be pairing you up as groups to quiz each other about your case.
What for a player? Or for
So don't worry about it.
So you've got the current position of and then determine the amount of fixed pay, which is quality position, where it needs to be,
Is that a liability that was currently got? Even if that
That's what I like about
Right, it is time now for that quizzing to begin. So, if you can just listen up. This group, could you go and seat yourselves? So basically, if you are sitting, I'm going to move you to chairs that have pieces of paper on them. If you're sitting on a chair with a piece of paper on it, then you are the funder. You represent the funders group, and opposite you will be the people with the project that hopefully you are going to fund. So if this table would mind moving across and move one other chair, move that chair up. And if you just seat yourselves in a line there. And then the funders group will move in. So you now No. You'll be the funders. So if you
significant challenge.
The funders groups have arrived. Obviously, the group that's got the proposal, the project proposal, needs to tell the funders kind of who they are. Are they public health or NHS or some other organisation that's got some funding? So basically, tell your funders who they should act as, and then introduce your project. And then it's over to the funders to start asking questions to reassure themselves that actually it is going to be a wise decision to part with money and fund the group. So does that all sound clear?
Yep.
Funders group are here. Tell them who they are. Are they public health or are they water companies or lottery?
So would you like to introduce yourselves as the graph?
And then you need to act your part.
Yeah, I think it does.
We're Bradford Powers and Green Space.
Are you happy to do you know your identity?
All right,
They need payroll.
Yeah,
A brief introduction to your project and then over to your funding group to quiz you as to whether it's going to
so the council historically just did the fixed play facility under 14 cost burden.
This is a
resources, so we have to look at that under 14 fixed play
playing fields.
but we also need to look at the wider concept of under 14 play, because we don't want to prescribe what under 14s play should be, open it up to our community to helpfully inform us what under 14s play should look like.
Not usable as playing.
So it's a co-designed collaborative approach. Our hypothesis at the start of this is that if we get the under 14s play right, then there will be significant health and well-being benefits for that cohort of children who start to benefit from improved play. Go up to 14 as their children, and then longer term as they go through life, because they have that opportunity. I think that's pretty much what sums up what we do. So we'd like you to use lots of money to go through this process of discovering what this under 14s play should look like, and then building in the evaluative tools that we need to show that we're having benefits as we progress the project.
And also by 2050 we'll be
this actually links a lot of
largest population under 30s of any European city. So the demand is only going to increase. So how do we deliver this to that age group and have quantifiable health outcomes and effects? So that we're basically going for a investigative.
Oh yes. So sign it, get it checked out. Very well from there. Everyone wants
not necessarily through the traditional way that we're doing it.
Do you want any funding for any kind of pilot, kind of practical examples?
Just give us a check. Just check.
That'll be the next phase. Next phase.
Yeah, very helpful. Over to funding panel. Please act the part if you, as long as you know your identity. Do you know who you are representing as funders? Great. Okay, good. So now's your chance to, if you're not clear on what's being asked of you, whether you can achieve it. Now's your chance to ask good questions, get the answers you need.
Access.
So I've got a question. Because I'm just great what's the co-production stuff and not start with what you think's the things that you know. But I guess you talked about the message after the place and there's lots of anecdotes to use. How will you manage to get representatives of representatives from non-United under 15s and actually cover the entire city so that we've got whatever you come up with doesn't increase inequalities, wanting to try and reduce inequalities. These things, the most inactive children will be in the most disadvantaged, which we appreciate.
Opportunity potential into fishing lane, I suppose.
I think a good way, or a feasible way to do that would be like focus groups in schools. Maybe have volunteers or even ask teachers to hold like a 15-minute focus group with the students, asking them what they enjoy about play, what they feel like aren't able to do at home or in their local areas. And then as well as that, you can do something on Twitter, because that is on Twitter, you know, just do a little survey and just be like, be in with the chance of winning an iPad or whatever, and get funding for that, and just tick, I play, I don't play, why, because I can't, or because it's not safe, or something like that, just to get an idea initially.
Lots of stuff, and then that sounds a great idea. How are you going to decide if you get a bunch of competing interests or competing ideas, or this bit wants to do this, somebody else wants that, and how are you going to decide between them what you do? And would it be a one-size-fits-all?
There's not a big area.
The ideas are common.
No. No, we have a project on in Bradford, which is particularly
This is all real stuff.
so we
we have partly because we're looking for a bigger lottery
population and the worst health outcomes, and any increase in funding maybe it starts to concentrate any significant increase on those areas. It's not a generic approach across the district. It's not traditional white workers and middle class areas where it's like that, but obviously the outcomes of some information.
It's just managing the expectation.
Well, I'm just wondering how you sort of
Maybe.
less. We've got to have a question to the children and whether it might be adapting for different age groups. It's like, I know when I was like 13, 14.
Well, we were just,
So
There's lots of
I don't know whether you've
evidence
thought about
available
like,
to us to
that and
establish
whether you might need to adopt different
demographics.
strategies for different age groups.
And
It's probably more
you know,
about
we
physical
can use
activity.
some of the tools
Asking people what they like
to
to
actually
do
look
rather
at,
than
you know,
making it
the
more,
kind
more
of,
prescribed about play.
you know, compare
I think even
the
with that,
demographics around
as soon
there
as you say physical
with,
activity,
you know,
it's
other places
obesity,
that
it's
go
unhealthy,
for
it's
outdoor
having to do
recreation.
something. So we don't want to say physical activity, we want
And
to say sport.
obviously you
Just say,
said
what do
it's
you like to do
quite a
after
mixed
school?
demographic
What do you
area.
do when you're
So
at home?
we're expecting
Keeping the questions away from
you know,
health.
quite substantially.
And
And
you
I
need
think
to
we can
stay
measure this.
somewhere because
Yeah.
otherwise you might
And also
have
we put that in place
Xbox,
because
whatever else, you know.
But it may be
iPlayer.
that in that case it proves that you don't need these play areas. Like you need to find something else. It may be that you need to develop an app, like Pokemon Go, where they go to areas with this app and they play with that instead. And that'll save you the money for this.
The big way that this, because we mentioned co-production and collaboration at the beginning, the way that changes the nature of any project, because most projects, and especially local authority projects, we're rational numbers. We've already worked it out, we know what you need, because that's what local authorities do. What we're asking as part of this project is a collaborative, and your first question gets to is how do we find out what the user community actually wants? And it won't be the same thing everywhere. So in a sense, it's a discovery process, and that does. We mentioned pilot projects. I think we have to do some pilot projects in this to show that you can fast prototype the process for building and delivery and testing the evaluation thing before you do a whole city. You can't do a whole city first. You've got to start from something that's validating the hypothesis in a small way and then expanding on from that. So it's long term, so our strategy is necessarily going to be long term. So that's, as a funder, I hope you will buy into that process rather than saying, I need to spend 50 million.
So well.
We
were talking about the places to get our baseline
that won't work.
I think we've all seen examples that I've been involved myself in funding streams which last say for 2 years, where you get a significant amount of capital cash, you put your clear or new parkland spaces in, and then because it's been done without the kind of physical kind of activation programs, they're often just kind of like throwing money away because they can get vandalised and damaged, especially if they're in more economically bright parts of town. There's got to be a kind of this co-design approach, this approach that we actually do the kind of quality provision where it's needed, actually what is needed.
Yes, yeah.
This initiative is all about.
What kind of outcomes do you look for? Like, I get that obviously that kind of depends on what's good design, but then
About green
you make
infrastructure,
ideas at the moment.
down valleys, a whole number of
Kind of outcomes
things.
you
Just
from,
opportunity.
given that it's about play or
wants to work with this, but
That's brilliant. Just make your last question, and then we'll turn the table.
As George has already said, we've got huge amounts of data that very linking
with access.
that bonds value cohort is. So we need to see that change.
These reduced mental health issues in that cohort, that all the information is already settled in the NHS. Attendance at school, maybe it's something as simple as just getting all the kids walking to school, then on those facilities and people emotionally walking because of don't care, you force them into physical activity in their daily lives. That's fully integrated. You don't have that route.
So when we started having our conversation together, there's we need to prove what outcomes for developing under 14 spare. Diabetes, inactivity, low levels of physical activity, so that's kind of an initial-ish where we're
Pass the yellow sheets of paper across to you will become the funders now. So you need to be told who
You
you
have to do A/B testing. You do it apply to everyone.
Treasury, Michael Gove,
Apply to
Sounds a visceral pain.
you might be acting as, and obviously you'll need to the project and then
so I can give
likewise
you 10k.
sort of
Something in Leeds.
Something in Leeds.
That must be really hard with public health. So how do you move money out of something that you spend on now into something that might have an effect in the future?
Even though they're putting provision on their own now, the mere fact of changing
so there is no
use of play
new money.
there is, even though they can't use
unplayable
anymore than
but people
I
like
think
it.
it's
to the new funding panel, timestamp tables, and you now are the funding panel. Project components, you need to tell them their identity, who they are they treasury or are they chief executive of local authority or whatever funding source you were thinking of. Introduce your project, and then it's over to you, funders, to ask questions.
I thought that's who we were, and we were going to make them big lottery funded.
Okay, right.
Otherwise, I was going to ask you the same question. What do you not want us to film?
Well, so you put out a call for competing bids for this particular one.
Right, okay. So our idea is an app-based treasure book. So we're kind of going for the health by stealth sort of thing, where it'll be promoted as like a family sort of children's activity, but what we're sort of hoping to achieve from that is sort of increased physical activity, better mental health and well-being, as sort of secondary outcomes. What we've said. So it would be some sort of like, we like the idea of implementing it within sort of an urban space, so it would be, as part of it would be sort of helping people discover different green spaces, or sort of connecting spaces between green spaces that people might not have possibly been aware of before. And we thought the idea of sort of implementing it with an app was quite good because it's not really got as much of a maintenance cost as it would if we delivered some sort of like physically interactive thing within parks or something like that. And we can also collect data through the app so we can be evaluating how we're achieving our health outcomes using the app. So we can use the app to look at steps taken, possibly GPS routes, time spent being physically active, and then in terms of evaluating the sort of mental well-being outcome, we kind of talked about two different options. So one would be when people download the app, they need to sort of register, provide us with some an email address basically, so we can get in contact with them and perhaps take a sample and get them to do a questionnaire. So there's the EQ 5D questionnaire, which would be used for that. And also we can possibly get some sort of real-time data collection as part of that. Haven't thought through too much about how that would work, but possibly like taking pictures of where they are and sort of getting kids to sort of annotate how they're feeling or something like that. And we thought that this could actually also have some sort of revenue generation function as well. So if we're collecting GPS data, that might be useful in informing park management. So where should we be locating different facilities and things like that, what routes do people use. We can also use it to sort of guide people to revenue generating resources, so it might be using car parks, it might be something else. Have I missed anything out? Yeah, so that's the idea. It would obviously require financial input more at the front end in terms of developing the app, publicising it and things like that, and then hopefully the sort of longer term running costs wouldn't be as large as the sort of
maybe a user generated angle to insensitive to people. Can people make suggestions as to things they might like to see in it? So is there a history buff layer that you could put on it that would take you through treasure hunting through history angles of, is it Bradford or Sheffield, or does it have to be that kind of webs as well, which that would be interesting in the future.
Yeah.
Sounds really good. Really good. I was just wondering, if you talk about like health inequalities that it might make as a result of not having a phone or
We haven't got that.
It's a really good question, and I think there is a big assumption that everybody has a smartphone these days, and that's not true. And we would have to think through a way of making sure that it didn't exclude people who have smartphones but can write data and that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
I wonder if you could have like a paper, you can do paper-based treasure hunts, whether you could have like a paper version that's distributed through the library or something like that.
Or some kind of still using an app-based version that's releases through libraries or community organisation or whatever. I mean, obviously then you're getting into potential for tech to go wandering and stuff like that. But it's a really important thing.
Excellent. So we're going to funding panel. You know your identity.
Just one question.
Because that's for me that's the maintenance angle of this as opposed to the maintenance of physical things, isn't it? So it still needs, we were talking about Pokemon Zoro, weren't we? I think it was yourself actually.
It would still need ongoing maintenance, and then potentially if you want to capture your audience and get them, keep them engaged, you might need to bring in new functions to keep them engaged with the program. So that would be an ongoing maintenance cost.
How do you price it down to project or just go to the private side? Why does that happen just on free?
you could link it.
You
could link it with something like you could link it with something like another app like Uber or like eBay or Geocache or something where the app could direct you and say, oh look, there's a restaurant, try it out. Or I mean, it would be difficult to stop McDonald's coming in.
Yeah.
So if you did it, you'd have to we have healthy options.
As a local authority, obviously we've signed up to having a health and all policies or action policy that says we will do things like Coca-Cola van come visit us at Christmas and stuff. So obviously our app would have to be more oriented towards making sure that people have done at least 15,000 steps before they went to McDonald's.
The thing about you're proposing to build a product. What I'm wondering is, for a product to work, it has to acquire users for a digital product to work. What user need or problem are you solving in a really compelling way that's going to get the app used? Because unless that happens, then it doesn't go anywhere. So how do you acquire users? What problem do you need?
The extensive competence on that design who came up with this idea. We know there's a design for it.
Yeah, in terms of especially, you could launch it and it starts summer holidays, and there's a lot of parents thinking, I haven't got a lot of money to spend doing something that costs every day with my children. What sort of things can I do? And I think obviously there's the cost of needing the phone and the data and things, which would need thinking about a bit more, but it does provide a sort of free or nearly free option of a day's activity. And then as we were talking about building different sort of packs, so the history pack or the sort of nature pack, so you could be doing different routes and doing different things to keep that variety in there.
You can potentially also link it with the curriculum maybe and supporting what's being taught at
I feel like it could be
What problem are you solving for that user audience? Because unless you're solving a genuine problem for a user audience, they don't use things. That's the critical thing. What is that? I mean, they need to make fun. So they need to save money, to get marketing side, or it may be what we don't do with money, that may be the problem. But unless you've identified that, and users come to it, then even lots of marketing won't make it work.
You could tap into schools and have healthy eating and healthy lifestyles, and that would you can get schools on board and back of that, and you can actually involve
There is a risk there, isn't there?
I also feel like
Folks, we're going to need to wrap up just in a minute, so
That sounds
so final few questions.
Features,
Yeah,
really appeal to different ages.
How much money do you want?
Come on, it's like Dragon's Den.
And can't you just fund it through advertising?
I think that you normally need
I think in terms of quality, you might want to advertise or ancillary.
But you get to know your
because it's not
I
I don't think it would take big bucks.
get test at universities and get a big
The
course.
data mining
Yeah.
is sad that you can fly with the information that you get, you make it watch its face, and then you can start doing good with
Only
it.
if it's got user acquisition growth.
Sorry, we need to wrap up so you have time for tea.
You just don't
Final
set
session.
validate
Think
the
that,
product.
you're doing a lot of
Pause.
things.
There,
That's
just
what it's supposed to do.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, it's
Graham's been working there to do that.
what I was going to say.
So let's draw it together to a close now. Just wonder, from the two tables that we've got here, you could just pick out some of the things that you've learned from the questions that you've had, either as a questioner or being on the firing line to the questions. What have you learned about how you construct an economic case? Trying to seek funding. Any particular learning points from being a funder or being in front of a funder?
I think the costs and benefits of anything for both parties is important.
Some great
Okay.
questions actually that you come up with an idea and you chat through various things, and then when you're pitching it to other folk who haven't heard it before, the questions that were coming back were brilliant. And
Do you give us an
suddenly we're
example?
thinking, well, there's a great question about health inequalities, which actually as we were presenting it, I wrote down, we didn't think about health inequalities, and then the first question you asked was like that, so exposed. And then we went from there. So, and how much money do you want? Oh yeah, there's something like that.
Okay, yeah, great. Right. Okay, great. Any other learning points from over this side of the room?
I think it just backs up how much you need to have very specific, factually based reference things when you're it's very easy to be all motherhood and apple pie and waffly when you're doing these things about the good outcomes that we all want.
Were there any facts you were asked for in particular that you didn't
Well,
have?
most of them.
Yes.
But in fairness to us, we had only had 30 seconds to consider the project. But I do think that is though just like someone's been around quite a long time, and you just watch the bar rise and rise and rise in the quality of what you need to present before and whatever before you can actually be funded.
And I suppose if you would say that about green initiatives as well, from funders, they continuously want to know the evidence base overwhelmingly, and in different levels, they'll still fund IAPT and stuff like that, which we know isn't sort of the best evidence base. So it just seems a default.
It's really the bar just rises all the time about in the kind of I don't know the depth of the data that they're, and they still only give you 200 words to write it in, but they just want like the most amazingly robust stuff.
I think scale is important.
Tell us more. Scale.
Well, we were looking at a district-wide strategy for parks, which is an uncontrolled environment, and this group brought us an application that's an online application. So at that micro scale of the online application, you're automatically generating lots of data in a closed environment that you can show growth, you can show interactions, you can show whether you've got a cohort of people that you can question. Whereas at the parks level, when you're doing it across the district, it demonstrates an economic impact of that is a whole different ball game. So.
Very happy. On this table, you were just in your last discussion. It was a Leeds-wide program. Did the scale issue come up in your group?
We didn't get that far.
It would have done if we'd had longer.
Yeah. But I'd say it was about the most deprived areas in the city. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, we need to close there. Hopefully, you can begin to see that constructing this economic case isn't just about economic methodology and the nitty-gritty of the health economics. There's a lot of work needs to be done on the evidence base and formulating the project. So I hope you found that session helpful. It is time now to go back to somewhere over in the main building where there should be some refreshments. Thanks for being such a great group. If anybody's interested in joining the network that I represent, that's a knowledge sharing network, there's some flyers for it on the table here. You can sign up for free. And then I think the plenary session starts at 1:45. So in 15 minutes.
All right. Company make up in North. I mean, right. They come down and get round and down. We had a friends of group that went and put they were into local history, so what they did was they got QR codes. And they put stations throughout their QR codes. And then so anybody wants to QR codes. You get history of that particular part of England or region.
You know, networks.
Okay.
Events.
But yeah, I'm just working here. Unfortunately, because regularly sit on these webinars, and it was all about all that, and I thought, well, you know.